What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Official Whiskey channel. I understand that we haven't posted a video in a while. That's due to some training and some personal reasons, but we are back. We're gonna try to get some more videos for y'all. All of that is thanks to my good friend over at Bondoc Productions. I will link his website and his YouTube below. And thank you guys for continuing to like, continuing to share, and continuing to subscribe. I know one of the videos has almost 20,000 views, so thank you guys for that. Thank you for continuing to support the channel even while I was away. So with all that being said, what we're gonna get into today is the original build that I first built, the original AR platform. And we're gonna dissect it and talk about the do's and don'ts that I quickly learned and why this worked for me and why some of it didn't. So with all that being said, let's get started. Hey, so welcome back. What we're gonna do is, of course, start from the back, move to the front, and talk about each specific part, okay? So there's a lot of buttstocks out on the market, but typically a lot of the ones that you see are Magpul, and with Magpul, there's a lot of different options. I just went with a slimmer option. I know there are options that can hold attachments within them, all that. Honestly, the only reason I went with this is because it was a slimmer option. When I'm wearing body armor, it just seems to work for me better because you're trying to get it into that pit to be able to hold your firearm to your body, and with that, it just worked for me. So moving forward, you can see that I don't have an ambidextrous attachment here for a single point sling, obviously, because I knew when I was building this that I was going to run a 2-point sling, but we'll get into slings later. Moving up, I quickly want to talk about the ambidextrous charging handle I have here. A lot of people, when they first get their AR platform, they can see quickly with different types of training that you're gonna run into problems if you just have one-sided movement on your charging handle. So I went ahead and with this got the ambidextrous. Moving down, I quickly want to talk about this because there are different opinions people have as far as your selector switch. There are people that like the 90 degree, and then me personally, I like the 45 degree. I know some people absolutely hate it, but that's just something I went with so that it's quicker. But I know that there's also people that will say that that will get you into a sticky situation if you aren't entirely sure that it's on safe. But with me, it's just something that I personally preferred. Moving down, of course, this is just a regular pistol grip that I have on here. I will say I like the textured grip. It sticks better to my glove. Moving forward, I quickly want to talk about the trigger because I did put a different trigger in here. At the time, I don't know what poundage I had originally, but I put this drop-in trigger and it sits at about 1.5 pounds. It's super light, probably too light if I were to hand it off to someone else. That's why I keep it to myself, and I'm comfortable with my firearm. I know it well. And so that's something I prefer. I know some people like heavier triggers, some people like lighter triggers. I just went with the latter option. Moving up, you see that I do have a Magpul bad lever. This is because I know when you're reloading, you have to hit that paddle. It's just something that I started to try to train myself to do differently. I didn't always want to load my magazine, hit the paddle, and then move forward. I had someone suggest that once you load your magazine, you can start to move forward as your trigger finger moves down, hits the bad lever, and sends that bolt forward. And it's just something that I thought would make my firearm perform better. Do I truly believe it does? Yes. There are some people that aren't going to agree with that, and that's okay. But that's just something that I went with. Moving up, I want to quickly talk about sights, optics, everything. There are an extreme variety of optics, sights, everything that you can run on your rifle. Why I went with this specifically is when I was first trying to dabble into the different optics that I could put on this, I picked up, I believe it was a Sightmark. It had the quick attachment, and I thought, hey, this is probably going to be good. I quickly learned that it was not. Interestingly enough, when I went to fire, for some reason, that quick attachment failed and the sight actually came off of the railing. I thought maybe it was just a fluke. I tried it again, and yet again it happened. This isn't just bad-mouthing Sightmark, it's just something that happened. And so I quickly got rid of that sight and was on the hunt for something that was going to work out better. I went to a Holosun, and there was nothing wrong with the Holosun, but I wanted to do something that was a little bit better and not super expensive. And as you guys know with ACOGs, the sight is going to be as bright or as dim as you make it with either putting a piece of tape, that's the old way of doing it, but canceling out some of that light in that tubing. But I didn't want to go super expensive. Again, this was just an idea of a budget gun. What I have here is the Romeo and Juliet combo. I know there are different combos on the market, and the reason I went with this ultimately is because it does have that red dot and it does have a magnifier. I know there are some people out there that are not SIG fans and that are going to go back to a Holosun. This is just what I run and it works for me. Worked out way better than my experience with that Sightmark. Moving forward, I want to quickly stop here and move back. So what I have, of course, on this rifle is the QD mounts that I have for my 2-point sling. There are going to be some rifles out there that still have those rectangle attachments for the old school slings. I just think QD mounts work better. There's probably not a whole lot of conspiracy on that. And when it talks about slings, there are a lot of slings out there that a lot of different people are going to prefer. This one, of course, is a Blue Force gear, but I don't have a specific sling that I like to run. It's just I like the option for this sling in particular. When you have it on, you have this attachment right here that you're able to quickly slide out and in to either bring that rifle closer to your body or further away. And I like that option for if you're going to be running some type of CQB but with a longer rifle like this. I understand that this isn't the preferred rifle for CQB environments. Moving forward, you see that I do have this touchpad that goes along with this handguard, and it does have that almost sandpaper feel to it. Again, when I'm running gloves, which I will because this does have a suppressor on it and it does get hot, when I'm running gloves, that's just what works for me. I know that when you talk about handguards, and again, there's a big market out there for it. This is what I found that works for me because it's not like it's canted to a point where it's holding your wrist weird. It's just kind of like you're a part of the rifle. So when you're extending, you're almost pointing with your thumb, and that just for me worked better. Top of this thing is pretty bare. This was my original build, so it's not like it's completely decked out. But this Enforce worked for me for a lot of years, and it still does. It's still amazing. Moving to the internals, what I have on this particular rifle is a dead air suppressor. So when you're running suppressors or cans, whatever you want to call them, sometimes, in my opinion, they can kind of be overgassed, but that is far outweighed by the advantages that you have. So matter of fact, in the comments, let me know if you guys run cans on your firearms, and if you do, what your experience is with them. Because in my opinion, I love it. It is overgassed sometimes, but I prefer that kind of smell like you're on the range kind of thing. Ultimately, this rifle has done phenomenal for me. Again, this was my very first build. I changed a lot of it. Now that we've talked about the internals, let's talk about the actual upper and lower specifically. So the lower of what I have on this specific firearm is a DPMS lower. Now DPMS over the years I know has gone through some changes. It was dependable for me. I know there again is a lot of options out on the market, but the DPMS was just a lighter option for me that still worked. But again, I changed the trigger, I changed the selector switch, I changed so much of it. It was just something I needed as a baseline to be able to change all these things. Now moving to the upper, it is an Anderson upper. Anderson's a more dependable upper if you're going for a build, and it honestly, again, just worked for me. It's not something that's going to break the budget, and it's not something that you know is going to be spent after a couple thousand rounds. It's something that's dependable and what I used when building this rifle. So all in all, everything I did to this thing was a journey that I had to go on to be able to realize that this is what worked for me. A lot of people are going to have a lot of different options, and that's okay. And matter of fact, I want everyone in the comments, again, when I talked about, say what suppressor you have or what works for you, I want everyone in the comments to if you're cool with it, just to talk about kind of your experience with your builds, or even if you've thought about making the change from just buying stock firearms to doing builds, or kind of what your opinions are on that. So with all of that being said, thank you guys for watching. Matter of fact, thank you guys so much for all your support. Thank you to Bondoc Productions. And you guys continue to like, to comment, to subscribe, to share. You guys are the reason that this channel is becoming what it is. And ultimately, I didn't think that it was going to go anywhere. It was just something that was going to be a hobby. So thank you guys for making it into what it is today. So with all that being said, Official Whiskey out.